All right. We'll let everybody start jumping in. I always wonder like how they choose which person gets into the webinar first. Is it like alphabetical? Is it like by the first few people that were sitting in like the lobby, the waiting room?
Yeah, I think that that's the first to be in the lobby, and then whoever click, I don't know actually, because they once they're in the lobby, they get in, right?
Yeah, well,
Um,
once I let everybody in. So real quick, just to make sure that I actually have the chat set up, I have to do this check every single time. So if you want to connect with other recruiters that are excited about growing and rocking the year, drop your LinkedIn profile in the chat. One to network,
yeah,
and two to make sure that it's actually working.
yeah.
Yep, good to go. Perfect. Thank you, Tamara. Awesome. Good
Thank
stuff.
you.
Well, I am
Welcome. Um,
well, I am
yeah.
super excited. We are literally on day three of Rock the Year presented by Juicebox. This has just been, I've already seen like some of the messages. It's definitely been a game-changing week for people. The goal is to equip, the goal is to train, the goal is to motivate so that way we can go out and just rock the rest of the year. And I'm so excited about Neom, who's like a expert when it comes to digital marketing and getting leads. One of the biggest things that us recruiters like need to do is one, have leads that actually have positions to fill. So she's figured out on the back end how to work the AI systems, how to like do it so that way you can consistently get leads. And I'm so excited that she's actually part of this process, part of this summit too. So I'm just going to turn it over. So all floor is all yours.
Thank you so much for the intro, Benjamin. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you, everyone who's watching. I'm very looking forward to basically share my experience because I'm just like I think most of the people present here. I am a co-founder of a recruitment agency, and I've been through, well, the tides of recruitment in terms of finding clients and maybe struggling at finding clients and managing project delivery and growth at the same time. So that's gonna be what I'm gonna talk about today. Um, so here it is. So basically, a bit more than 2 years ago, I've started my company. I'm a co-founder, so recruitment agency that is based in London. We headhunt and recruit SaaS salespeople. Um, and about a year, I would say, yeah, a year ago, we wanted to grow the company. And we were just struggling to have consistency on the business development side. And we turn ourselves to lead gen agencies, trying to get more leads in. And we faced two kind of lead gen agency. The first one that were like, we don't work with recruitment agency. It's way too complicated. We can't provide you with volume, which was frustrating, but at the same time, I can appreciate the honesty of them just not trying to sell us the dream. And then there were the second type of lead gen agency that were like, okay, let's go. We're gonna provide you with 20 leads, 20 call booked in your calendar every month. And having done my research, I was like, how are they gonna provide us with 20 booked call every month when I ask around and people are telling me in the lead gen words, well, you would need at least 1,000 email to be sent to just get one booked call. So in term of TAM, in term of volume of email sent, that would represent such a huge amount that I was kind of confused. The market is big, but still, that would have been impossible. So here I am. The lead gen closed the door to me, and I'm just doing research again. I'm the kind of person that love a challenge, and whenever hit a obstacle, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna figure it out. So I started training on Clay, and then other AI tools like Growth Machine, and same. People were like, oh, "You're doing that for recruitment? Are you sure?" And I realized that what happens with more of the most of the people that build outbound system is that they kind of misunderstand the sales cycle of a recruitment service, we very different from SaaS product, for example. For us, from the moment we will speak the first time to a prospect to the moment where we sign agreements and we start hiring for them, we can have a year, 2 years of discussion. This is a long-term relationship that we have to build with them. It's not a case of, oh, I contact you and I've never heard that before, but you just give a call to a business that's hiring and they're like, oh, we were just waiting for you. That doesn't happen. So this is where I thought, okay, we can use what the lead gen agencies or outbound companies or settings they are building, but adapt it to the recruitment. So I've started doing that for my business. And from the first weeks, we were getting responses to our messaging. And after 3 months, we had like a consistent pipeline of booked call, of people that were like giving us referrals, that were saying to us, okay, it might not be the right time right now, but in 2 months' time, let's just have a talk again. And this is where we really saw how big that was in terms of we building a real motion, a real business development system that is going to help us scale and grow. And all of that is automated, which means that I don't have to pick between doing business development or delivering project for my current clients. So during this call, what I really want to go through is the pain that we encounter as agency founder, in terms that I think we all have that same problem, where I'm talking for small agencies here, so maybe like 1 to 10 people. Having a system in place is very complicated, and most of the time what happens is that we always prioritize our clients, which is normal. But at the same time, whenever we arrive to a point where, okay, the clients have no more position for us, what do we do? Well, my goal is to help you get a system that you don't get into that position anymore. And so we're going to create a strategy together to be able to have something consistent that you will just have to spend maybe 30 minutes a day, depending on what channels you want to use. Mostly what we're going to speak about today is LinkedIn messages, calls, and a bit of emails. For the type of roles that I hire for and the recruitment companies that I help, we really kind of like taking it slow. The emailing is maybe not the best way of outreaching to those people, but that's something I will get more in depth later on. So really focusing on the messaging and the calls, which is the strategy that we've been using for my agency that's been very successful. And I'm gonna build with you live a small list and a campaign using Clay and like Growth Machine. So the tools that I use, I like to keep my tech stack very, very light, because at the moment there's so many new tools that are available and it's popping every day. It's easy to fall for the shiny object syndrome. I've tried a lot of them. I went through the motion of using new tools, trying them. So what I recommend is what I'm using right now. I'm not saying that it has to be the tools that will be good for you. What I would recommend is that start with something simple and then try and test. You would need to spend at least a month minimum on testing tools before committing to something. This is what I've done. I fell for some tools that were too good to be true, and then while using them, I realized I didn't have a return of investment. So like prioritizing return of investment, and easy to use. Most of the tools are easy to use, but it's very important that you're able to implement them easily, that they can integrate to each other, so you don't have to be constantly going from one tool to another. So that's about HubSpot. I use HubSpot because it integrates with most of the tools that I use. To me, it's one of the most simplest one to use. I know that if you have a recruitment CRM where you already have a space for business development, you can keep that. But I know that many recruiters that I've been talking to, they don't really have that, or they're not really separating both of them. And we want clarity to be able to get that strategy going and make sure that we're doing all the follow-ups, everything. So for me, HubSpot's easy to use, and I believe it's free until like 1,000 contacts, which make it affordable for small agencies. And before you go through 1,000 contacts, well, that's gonna take you some time if you do things well. Second tool that I use, Clay. So for those who don't know Clay yet, it's a bit like an Excel sheet where you have AI incorporated in it, and you can use it to build your list, segment your list, and enrich the details. So if you want some information about the companies or your prospects, or if you want the contact details, emails, phone numbers, this is brilliant, especially when I think in terms of statistics, if you get a supplier for contact details, you will only get 20 to 30% of the data for a list, for example. But using Clay, you have waterfall solution, which means that you're able, without subscribing to all the tools to suppliers, you're able to use multiple suppliers at the same time, which means that you save some money and you make sure that your lists have way more way more contacts. And at the moment, for every list that I run, I get like 80% phone numbers, for example, which is very good. And just to give an example, in the past, I took a subscription with Cognizant, which was very, very expensive. And in terms of data, I think I had like around 30% phone numbers, which was very disappointed. So I've done that mistake in the past, but now I've got like that new solution that really, really helped me. Another really good point about Clay is that you can segment your list. So you will be able to personalize your messaging depending of who you are outreaching to. So whether it's HR or, I don't know, a VP of sales, you're able to tweak the message in a way that you don't just send something generic. And finally, I use La Growth Machine. So it's a sequencing tool that automates LinkedIn and email outreach. While La Growth Machine, so far out of all the tools, I feel like it's the safest in terms of third-party automation for LinkedIn. I think we all know the worth of our LinkedIn network, and we don't want to be in a situation where we get banned or anything like that. The good thing with La Growth Machine is that they create a special IP for your account, which means that when you log into La Growth Machine, it looks like you were using you were using LinkedIn from another device. So whether you have your phone, or your laptop, well, here it says like, oh, you're on a third device somewhere. So I really like that, and I never had any problem just like random being logged out or anything like that never happened. Then you have the sequencing part where you can create some custom campaigns using LinkedIn, different channels, multi-outreach channels, so LinkedIn, cold calling, and emails. And you're able to create your campaigns, and you can do all the messaging straight on La Growth Machine, so you don't get distracted when you're on LinkedIn, because the LinkedIn inbox is very messy. But here you have all your campaigns replies in one place, keeping clear. not getting lost into every messages you ever received. And I think that's about it about La Growth Machine. So the first thing I would say in terms of strategy is that we're going very heavy here on LinkedIn. So like the basic have to be there on your profile, which means that nice profile picture, taglines, description, keywords, be the most precise as possible. Try to post, don't have to post daily, but try to be present online. Because when we're gonna start adding people to your LinkedIn, start outreaching to them, you want to have a sort of credibility and you want people to think, oh, that person is real. Let me talk to that person because I can see they're active. So that's the human part that is there. The personality is there. And at the end, especially in recruitment, because we're building very long-term relationship, you're here to network, you're here to be present as your personality, your brand, your company. So really important. I think that's the first point that I would say if someone were to come to me and say, okay, I want to start, build a setting, I would say, have a look, do a nice makeup of all your LinkedIn. And just to give you an example, I was working with a cybersecurity firm and there were two co-founder. One had a nice picture on his profile, and the other co-founder was like, I don't care about LinkedIn, just use my LinkedIn, automate the LinkedIn, I don't care. And he didn't had like, I think he had a picture, but it was like very in the dark. And he wasn't getting any connection accepted. And so the other co-founder ended up like kind of forcing him to take a new picture. And as soon as he took the new picture, like the connection request just starting buzzing everywhere, and he starting getting accepted way more, especially as he was senior, like people could relate to him, and that's what we're trying to achieve here. The second part, what we're gonna do today is that we're gonna build a list based on an ICP and enrich that list with claim. So very important for you to know your ICP. I would say the less is the better, as in don't try to go after every company. If you have case studies, try to find companies that are in the same industry and stick to it. It's easy when you have access to a big pool of data to get lost. And at the end, when you build a list for your BD, it's just like headhunting. You're not after everyone on your network, or if you use LinkedIn Recruiter, for example, you're gonna go after special profiles. Same here. So really know your ICP. Then the campaigns that we're gonna create together is gonna be a campaign that have both LinkedIn messages and cold calling. Again, I'm presenting here two channels that I know give you results. If you were to want to incorporate some emails, you can do so. Just to give you a bit more insight on that side, if you use La Growth Machine in terms of sending emails, they're very, very good for everything like warm up. If you send less than 50 emails a day, if you were to want to send more than 50 emails a day, it means that you need a whole infrastructure around your emails. Otherwise, you're going to end up in spam. And that's not a point that we're going to touch today, but I just want to kind of like still explain a bit about that because it will help you make a decision in terms of what kind of setting you would want to create for your own agency. But to give you a bit more information in terms of having email campaign going out, the price is gonna go way more higher. So if we go back to the calculation earlier, 1,000 emails sent for one booked call, let's say you want to reach that lovely lead gen number of 20 booked call per month, you will have to send 1,000 email per day. In terms of how much data you need to have in terms of infrastructure, how many emails, that's something that will be very heavy in terms of managing and keeping track of. So if you're under 50, just go with La Growth Machine, you will be good. More than that, if you want to achieve those crazy numbers the lead gen are selling to you, you need a proper infrastructure and some skills and knowledge on how to build that infrastructure. And finally, the strategy, basically, La Growth Machine is integrated with HubSpot, which means that every time you would have a reply, it adds the prospect to your HubSpot, and you're able to do all the follow-ups. So let's say someone replied to you and say, oh, I want to speak to you in the next 2 months, you're able to set up a follow-up there. And the good thing is that setup will only happen on HubSpot for the leads that replied. So you're not like going through contacts that haven't replied and you just have all those let's say sleep leads in your CRM. We're just keeping everything live and active on there. So let's go. We're gonna go on Clay and we're gonna build a small list here. So I'm gonna do a list that I will do for my own agency. So we're gonna go for companies. So I would like to so I work in SaaS with SaaS companies. So I'm gonna go for software development, information services. All the filters are pretty similar to the one you have on LinkedIn. All the information that you find on Clay is the one that you find on LinkedIn. If you want to have even more targeted list, more filters than what's available here, you can use SalesNav to build your list, or you can use like LinkedIn Recruiter. I like the idea of being able to do more with LinkedIn Recruiter, especially seeing how much it costs. Not just for recruitment, you can build list of prospect there too, and then you can use Clay to segment your list. Really depends of what kind of budget you have, because I know Clay can be very expensive for Recruiter. So if you wanted to just use the free version, you will be able to upload your list from LinkedIn Recruiter or SalesNav and go into segmenting your list. Let me just find more. Well, we're gonna stick to those two. So I work only with companies that have 50 to 1,000 employees. So we're gonna go for United Kingdom and United States. Let's make everyone happy. So here it is. So as you can see, I've got a list of companies. So right now I'm using the free version, so I'm limited to 100 results. But if you have the full version, you can get like how many companies that exist. So we continue. So here you have all your companies uploaded. So as you can see, we've got a lot of them. They're all in the filters that we asked. So you've got the description of the company. You're getting basically all the information that you get from LinkedIn. So for example, you can, if I wanted to segment a bit more this list, I could quickly create a formula and say return true if, so the description, let's say I only want company that have the word AI in the description. I can basically get that information and segment my list based on whatever keywords are present in the description. So I know it can be a bit complex for some people here, but once you get on top of it, like there's a lot of videos on YouTube to learn how to do that, but it helps you really just segment and refine your list because as I said, right now we're getting a very small pool of companies, but when you start having lists of more than 1,000, you want to make sure that whatever information you're gonna enrich and all is the one you want really. So from there, I want to find people at those companies. So I'm gonna do find contacts at the companies. So let's say I'm gonna reach out to my hiring manager. So VP sales, CEO, COO. And yeah, we're just gonna get a good list like that. So as you can see, I've got a list of CEOs, VP of sales, and I can import to my new table. So as you can see, I've got all my prospects here. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna export my list. And then we're going on La Growth Machine. Sorry, I forgot what we can do before we do that. I'm just gonna show you how to enrich. So I've got all my leads here. What I can do is that I can enrich, for example, with phone numbers. So you can see here, I've got phone numbers. If I wanted, I can have emails, all that information. And we will be using different suppliers. So Rocket Rich, MixRanks, People Data, all that information. And it costs you some credits. It can help you basically just not having too many subscription and save some money, especially when you're building small lists. But you can also plug in, if you already have a subscription with Rocket Reach, for example, you can just like plug in your account and you're not paying any credits with it. So I know I'm going through a lot of things. If you have questions, please put it in the chat and I will reply to everything after. So what we're gonna do now is that we're gonna create a campaign. So as you can see here, they have templates of campaigns that are already available. So if you want just like emails and LinkedIn, if you wanted just LinkedIn, just email, well, Twitter, not really my thing. Call and LinkedIn, call, email, LinkedIn, you can pick, but you also have, if you have the full account, you can also build from scratch whatever campaign you would like to build. One thing that is pretty cool is that you can send voicemail from the platform, which means that you would create one voicemail for your whole campaign. and you don't have to send a new voicemail every time. A few recommendations on that. I know they have an AI that helps you to change the name depending of the name of the person that you will map out when you enter the leads. It's still a beta version, so if they have a name that is a bit special, like for example mine, I know that it would maybe not pick up Noemi. So what I would tend to say is like, "Hi, how are you? How are things going on with you?" And I will stick it to there. Because it's not such a very regular way of outreaching, people tend to think it's not automated, and especially if you speak like a human, putting some tones and excitement, and people will reply to you. And I've seen some very good results from voicemail actually. So for us today, what we're gonna do is that we're gonna do some call in LinkedIn. This is the campaign that really helps me to reach that type of numbers, as you can see. So very, very good numbers. 26% replied, 36%. We've booked 9 calls from that. So here we are. Yeah. So as you can see, we start the campaign. The first step of the automation is gonna visit the profile of the prospect that we are reaching to. Second step will be add the relationship if they're not already a connection, and then we will wait, send the first message, send another follow-up message, and then we will have a task in our tasker on like Growth Machine saying to you, oh, you have to call that person, so you don't have to like look after what task you have to do. It's automated. You just have to check every day, okay, do I have messages to reply to? Do I have calls to make? And then finally, a last message. So first thing I like to set up so here. So what I like to do is that I put my waiting time between the moment the person accepts the connection and the first message you send. I like to put it to 2 days. Just for the simple reason that I think we all have been in that situation where we get a connection request, we accept them, and then that person's just pitch slapping us in the face, and we just very in defense mode. So waiting 2 days look way more human than just like going 30 minutes after you receive that connection. I've done the test on let me just get a bit closer. I've done the test on messaging with no, adding a connection with a connection request with a message and without. I've done that test on 100 connection with a message, 100 connection without message. I had such a better connection rate without the message that now I don't send a message anymore. If you don't have premium with LinkedIn, you will be limited to 5 potential messages per person. So that's, again, trial and error. I'm not saying it will work for you, but that's from my experience. I don't send connection requests. I believe that people, when they see my profile, they just know what I'm about, and they accept or they don't. Then, so you would have your first message, second message, call, and the last one. I do not do breakup messages, as in, oh, I'm stopping the sequence now. I'm not messaging you anymore. I don't do that because basically, write that down. Whenever you outreach to someone and let's say they don't reply to you, 2 months later, you're able to start again, start from scratch, because most of the time people don't remember you, and the thing is like you might close doors where maybe that person was busy, maybe your message got lost in their inboxes. We don't know. So You can do, don't do breakup messages. I really don't recommend. The last message, I would maybe ask for a referral, assume that you're busy. Is there a better person in the company I should speak to who's in charge of recruitment? I will stick to that. Then for the first two messages, we've got two different schools here. We've got the one that will be maybe saying something like, so you were hiring, I do blah, 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 case studies. Or there is the more consultative approach where you would just start a discussion. And I've tried both. I had results with both. I feel like the more senior the people are, and maybe if the company is more of a legacy company, the discussion works better. If you're going after a startup that is quite of a young company, you're outreaching to someone that has a more junior job title, yeah, maybe like the more peachy type of message would work better. But again, we keep in mind that what we're trying to accomplish here is to build long-term relationships. So I think most of the recruiter are conscious that they don't want to appear as a as transactional, basically. So if you know that it's gonna take months, maybe years to build that relationship, you know that the discussion path would always be the best one. Again, I've never heard of anybody just messaging, and I'm not talking about like people that work on contracting, and I'm talking about those full-time jobs, and I've never heard of anybody saying, "Oh, I'm actually hiring, help me now." So you have to build those discussion, you have to keep people warm, and that's really what's happening here with what we're creating here, is that we are keeping our prospect warm. So the day they're hiring, you're on top of their mind, and they're able to maybe outreach to you, or you will be there knowing that, oh, they're hiring right now, let me message them. I've talked to them before, that connection is already there. I'm not starting from scratch trying to sell my service to them. So you will just add here your list from Clay. And what happened then is that then you just write down your messages. They have some AI features. Not a big fan of like just letting AI write a message, keep it short. Again, write that down. You have to think that most people read their messages from their phone, so you want to keep it like maximum 150 characters, maybe just something short that they can read, that makes sense straight away. Don't speak about yourself on the first line, speak about them, something that you noticed about them. Ask questions like you're curious about something, like how they're managing the sales target while having position on the sales teams open, for example, and then a little line about what you accomplished with a competitor, something that is relevant to the industry, and then just a quick word, is it worth a chat? Should we have a chat? Don't try to book a call on the first message. But always, yeah, keep it short. And if we're taking the more conversational approach, I've been doing on my side just like, how are things going? It's so simple, but people love a chat. So that's been like some very simple secrets that I've been doing, but always keep it short. Also, a LinkedIn message is not an email, so you don't have to be as formal as you would be by email. So yeah, just stay human. So yeah, that's about it on the setting up the system. So yeah, in terms of results, again, putting some disclaimers out there, don't expect to have a pipeline, like I said, 10 leads, qualified leads in your calendar every month. Don't expect to have that on the first month. It takes time, it takes motion. And that's where the lead gen agencies get lost, is that we have to build a machine that's gonna work consistently and is automated, so you don't have to do it basically, but it's gonna take time. So the result will be here after a few months, and you just have to stick to it. And I know we're facing so many challenges and tides in recruitment. I often say like recruitment is a bit like trading, because there's like those up and down all the time. But with that, when you're building that system, you kind of taking away that inconsistency, and you can just let it run until it start building you a consistent pipeline. Um, One of the benefits of having that system is that the one that I've described here is very simple. So it means that you don't have to be very technical. You can just like build that over a week and launch it. It's very simple. It's cost effective. You're not gonna, I don't know, invest £1,000 every month on data system. You can keep everything under like, I think I've made some costing in the past, and we were under the 400 on £400. So not sure exactly in dollars how that would be, but yeah, you're not overly spending. Just to give you an idea, that Cognizem subscription I was talking about was 980 pounds at a time. So, and that was 2 3 years ago. So we can really see that the outbound just landscape has changed drastically, and it's way more affordable, and it's so much more easy to get into it and make things happen for you. And yeah, we're only two in the business, and we're able to have basically an outbound system that is pretty much the same of a B2B SaaS company, and we only two. So really, I can't encourage enough people to jump on the bandwagon, because it's been life-changing just to discover that whole world and sharing with you guys, because that's another thing that I'm trying to do with all those talks and posts I put on LinkedIn, is that I'm transparent, and I feel like there's enough business for everyone. And if we help each other and we share, we'll just grow all together. So yeah, that's about it. I'm happy to jump on the questions. So if you have questions, please share them with me. Let me just stop share my screen.
We got a question from Terry. What are your clay costs for running a campaign? And just trying to get an idea of what to expect.
Yeah, so that's a good question. At the moment, what I do, because we're a small agency, I don't have Clay on a monthly basis. But what I would do is that I will just get the month. I think it's the Explorer plan. It's under $300, I think, and it will provide me with 3 to 4 months of data. Um, so yeah, if you make the calculations, it's under $100 a month, and that allows me to have, as I say, I don't do emails much, so I would just focus on having the phone numbers. So yeah, that's about it. I hope it answers your questions.
In the campaign showing that you had 26 replies and 9 calls booked, how many outreaches were made to get that response?
That's a good question. I can't remember exactly. Let me check. So we contacted 96 people. Um, that's another thing that I would add for people. Keep your list small. Again, when I feel like when I started, I was really into how to say that, urgency type of mindset at the time when I started with all that outbound system thing, which means that I was like, more, it's gonna make me more money. I was trying to build those gigantic list of thousand and thousand of prospects, because I felt maybe like a bit scared, of like, okay, I need to have more clients. And now I've got those machines that allow me to have access to so many prospects. Like, let me outreach to all of them. But the problem is that when you outreach to a lot of people, it's just like outreaching to nobody because there's so much follow-ups that you have to do. There's so much calling you have to do. It was very hard to keep up with. So I would recommend people to keep your list under 300 prospects. So you make it the message super personalized and also like you just outreach to people that you know is gonna be interested about you. So yeah, I always recommend to keep the list small, especially if you're a small company, because within 100 people, there's definitely some business lying there for you at some point. So you have to just keep at it. Another thing actually that maybe I can share about with La Growth Machine, without spending money on data, La Growth Machine allow you to basically go within your network and outreach to those people. And I think there's so much sleeping money in everybody's network because any good recruiter has a minimum of 1,000, 2,000 people in the network, and some have like they've been building that since I don't know the last decade, and they have like 1,000 and 1,000 of data there, and maybe place someone I don't know 8 years ago, and now that person is actually a hiring manager. So you can also work within your network, and you're saving so much money, and you actually those people kind of know you already, so the discussion is so much more easier. So that's one thing I would say before going maybe outside and get more data outside of what you already have. Just look at your network and work from your network, and once you've optimized that and you've outreached those people, start adding more. Sorry, I went a bit on a tangent on that one.
All good. Here's another question. How are you customizing those messages to prospects that are already uploaded into the sequence? Do you write those messages into the sheet before uploading to the Growth Machine, or is there a step in the Growth Machine sequence that asks you to send these messages manually, thereby giving you the opportunity to customize the message?
So basically, what you can do, I do two different ways. Whether I really segment my list to a point where I know in my list I only have VP of sales in financial services, for example. So I know the messaging is gonna be kind of like the same for everybody. Or what you can do is that from Clay, you're able to create some columns where you would have like some variables, basically. And when you add the list to La Growth Machine, you're able to add those variables to the mapping of your leads, and you're able to add it to the messaging. So for example, you can see here, I've got like potential variables, so you can change like the names, um, the company. I don't know why it's not. And you can have custom attributes. So let's say, I don't know, I saw you were hiring in the industry and you want to change the industry for each, or they have like a very different service that it's available to you. You can change that and use the custom attributes. So that would be a way to really make your message different. I do not recommend the type of message that will start with, "Oh, I saw you were working at blah blah. Amazing work." Like that type of message does not work. Nothing that is overly excited about I don't know, someone's working in the company. So yeah, that's that type of personalization I do not recommend. Just base stuff on metrics, facts. Like if they're hiring now, just talk about that. Yeah, that's why I would recommend.
What is the pricing for your service, and do you require us to use HubSpot if we have our own CRM?
So at the moment, the pricing for my service, I'm happy to have a call with you if you want. Um, For the HubSpot, you don't have to have HubSpot as like what I do is that I look at what you already have and we adapt the whole system around what you have. Here I've presented HubSpot because I know it's easy, it's not expensive, and people can really relate to it. But like for whatever type of system you would have already in place, we can always adapt. That's the goal at the end, not changing everything, because that's too much for our business, especially when they're small.
All right. And then somebody asked, what plan do you have on the growth machine? Uh, like which plan are you looking at?
Which, sorry?
The growth machine has like multiple plans. Which plan are you talking about and
Oh,
utilizing,
the
and how much is
plan.
it?
So you can start I think the first plan is at something like 50 pounds. We can have a look all together. What I recommend, I can't click on the, oh yeah, here. What I recommend to you is to basically get the pro plan. I think it's the pro plan. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to. The pro plan I think is around 150 a month. Why the pro plan? Because you can integrate all the tools together with it, and you can customize your campaigns, and you're able to set up tasks for your calls. And I think it's just life-saving to, yeah, you've got the pricing here. It's just like saving a lot of admin and back and forth between every tools. So yeah. Basically, I've got on my page the link if you want to get a free month with like Growth Machine, so you can try it. And everyone that I've been like sharing that link with kind of get like a return of investment straight away from that first month. So I think it's brilliant that you get to see by yourself that it's working. So I can share that. It's on my the page of the event.
Awesome. I think we nailed all the questions. Definitely thank you so much for sharing this morning. Or I know it's not even morning for you. It's what you said, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. for you.
Yeah, it is. It is at the moment, yeah. But it's good. Thank you, everyone. I hope like I've brought some value to you, and maybe maybe you'll be able to implement some stuff. If you have more questions after the chat, like just find me on LinkedIn, just message me. I'm happy to talk you through some stuff. We can have a call. I'm always like looking to help recruiters because I've been like going through the trenches by myself, and at the time it wasn't really a thing, all the stuff that I was looking into, and now I'm glad that things have evolved and it's more open. So
I think
I'm
somebody was
just,
asking for the link to the free month of the growth machine.
yeah, I'm trying to, yeah, here. I'm giving you that, guys. Yep.
There you go.
All right.
Let me just, you shared it with me, so let me just share it with everybody.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. All right.
Brilliant.
Real quick, drop an emoji in the chat while your thoughts on today. I know she did a good job like walking through like making what sounds complex look a lot less complex than it's been looking in my head. I think somebody even mentioned that you did the best job explaining clay
Thank
compared to like
you.
so many other people. So awesome. But
I
yeah,
I had, sorry to cut you off, but I had to convince my business partner to get on that. And he's not a technical guy, so I think I've had my training before.
that's awesome. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for definitely kicking off day 3. It's like an absolute phenomenal work or a phenomenal week. And for everybody that has gone VIP for the replays, this is definitely a replay that you want to go back and watch again. And definitely thank you for going VIP. And I will see you guys shortly. It's got to keep a track of my schedule on like my multiple screens. We are getting started with the next session at 10:30. So give you guys a quick break, get some emails out. Thank you so much for sharing today, and I want you guys to keep on crushing it.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for letting me talk, and hope you kill it this year.
Awesome. See you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.